So I'm here to talk to you about GCSE Religious Studies. We're really excited this year to be offering the full course, and it is an AQA course that looks at or has 2 papers. So I'm just going to explain what the qualification involves and the assessment that's involved also. So paper 1 is the study of religions, beliefs, teachings and practices. So we look at 2 different religions. We look at Christianity and we look at Islam. It is an hour and 45-minute paper with 96 marks, and it's worth 50% of the Gcse. So let's talk very quickly through each one of the elements of paper 1. So Christian beliefs, we look at things like the nature of God, the ideas of the afterlife, life after death, judgment, heaven and hell. We look at things like the crucifixion, sin, salvation, and the idea of atonement. We then look at practices, so we look at worship and festivals, so looking at things like the Lord's Prayer and the importance of informal prayer. We then look at things like pilgrimage and look at the idea of Christian pilgrimage to Lourdes and Iona. We then look at the role of the church within local communities, but also worldwide. So we look at the importance of churches involved in food banks and street pastors. We then look at the work of different organisations like the Catholic Agency for Overseas Development and Christian Aid. The same is then repeated with Islamic beliefs. We look at the teachings and beliefs of Islam, looking at things like the 6 articles of Sunni Islam and the 5 roots of Shia Islam, looking at the nature of God, the importance of angels, and the idea of heaven and hell. And then we look at the idea of authority and the holy books and why the holy books are so important within Islam. We then look at practices, so we look at worship and why worship is so important, looking at things like Friday prayer, looking at the 5 pillars again and the 10 obligatory acts in Shia Islam. We then look at different duties and festivals within the Islamic faith. Paper 2 then consists of something called the thematic studies, so we look at 4 different ideas relating to religion. So we've got relationships and families is theme A, religion and life is theme B, religion, peace and conflict, and then theme E is religion, crime and punishment. Again, this is a 1 hour 45-minute exam that's got 96 marks and it's worth 50% of the GCSE. I'm just going to very quickly run through each of these so you get an idea of what you would be studying in paper 2. So relationships and families look at sex, marriage, divorce, looking at things like contraception and differing views of contraception, different roles of families, and the idea of gender equality. It's worth saying that for all the thematic studies, we study a main religious tradition in Britain, so looking at Christianity, and then looking at another religious viewpoint. So that might be Islam, but that might also be people who don't have a religion and understanding what their viewpoint is. Theme B is religion and life, so this is looking at things like the origin and the value of the universe, so looking at things like the use and abuse of the environment, looking at animal experimentation, then looking at things like ethical arguments around abortion, euthanasia, and the beliefs of the afterlife and death. Theme D is religion, peace and conflict. So this is looking at the meaning and significance of things like peace, justice, violence, terrorism, the reasons for war, the idea of the just war theory, and then looking at religion and beliefs in the 21st century. So looking at things like how religion may have caused certain conflicts across the world, looking at the use of weapons of mass destruction, and looking at how people deal with conflict. And then finally, theme E is religion, crime and punishment, looking at the ideas of good and evil, crime can cause things like poverty, so looking at different viewpoints around that, and then looking at the treatment of criminals in prison, corporal punishment and community service. So I hope this gives you a really good overview of the religious studies full course. If you have any questions, please speak to your religious studies teacher.